know things, I know some too. Sit right down, the Femsplain 'em to you. If there's a thing you wanna explain, these two feminists can entertain. Nerdy stuff, sexy stuff, so much to know. Tune in for the Femsplained show.
Femsplained! We just do a little bit of the old.
The old what?
Opening a can.
Oh, is that a can of water?
No, it's a can of beer.
Oh, okay.
I said I had to go get a beverage because I already had water, but only water.
Oh, I thought you were like, I have to go get a beverage and I only have water.
Should we talk about this?
Gotcha. Amber Ale, and that's Avalon has a can of beer and a wine glass full of water, which, I mean, I'm headcanoning has vodka in it.
Nah.
No.
But this is old camping beer.
From which camping? Because I feel concerned.
I think it might be from...
Pirate camping?
No, honestly, I think it's from when we went tubing. Because this can smells a little weird. It smells like the river.
It smells like tube.
Yeah.
Smells like dicks.
I talk about that so often.
One of Avalon and I, our old school memories, our memories of the time before Femsplained.
Yeah.
We went, as you do on Long Island, because there's nothing to do on Long Island. We went to a Bob's to I don't know. I assume we went there to hang out.
I've never been to or heard of. I didn't know what kind of things they sold.
And Bob's is a weird place because they sell clothing, but they also sell some sporting goods and things. And that smell of
soccer
rubber
balls. Yeah.
soccer ball and basketball and that smell is really pungent when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
And Avalon walked in and went, "It smells like Dick's in here." She meant Dick's Sporting Goods, but I
said it very loudly, but with the purest innocence.
Yeah, she really just
but
meant
I didn't know
that
what
it
kind of
sounds...
store. I didn't know if it was gonna be a grocery store. I remember walking in all excited to go to a new kind of store. What would it be?
Oh, God.
And then, oh, surprise, surprise, it just smells like Dick's.
Yeah. And I think about that anytime I walk into any sporting goods store now.
Yeah,
and
same.
I'm just like, wow, it smells like Dick's in here. So, yeah.
Welcome to Femsplained.
Welcome to Femsplained. What the fuck is Femsplained?
Well, Femsplained is clearly a stream of consciousness word salad that Avalon and Diana have elected to record and post on the internet.
That sounds great. It's also a girls-only Clubhouse podcast where two queer femme humans get to talk about all the nerdy shit they like in a space that they created that they feel safe in.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's super succinct. Oh, that doesn't... but okay, just because it's us being whatever our identities are, doesn't mean that people of every kind of identity can't listen to it if they choose to. Hopefully find it entertaining and maybe even informative.
Maybe on that last bit. So last week we revisited the topic of D&D to a broader spectrum of tabletop gaming. We talked about that.
Yeah.
And
I just listened to it this afternoon. And so it is fresh for me.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
It's awesome.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I liked it too.
Super tangential. I don't care. But it was
I
good.
really liked it because of its new segment that Avalon came up with.
Thank you for segueing that, because I felt like just talking about how much I liked the last episode felt very much like we were just jerking ourselves off.
I mean, we're allowed to. Men do that in every aspect.
Fucking good. Our last amateur podcast was so fucking sweet.
I'm not going to shame us for enjoying the things that we do. I'm not going to do it.
I mean,
I like it. I like our podcast.
You know what
Fuck off.
I thought about in our last podcast, though? I don't think we have enough, podcast inside jokes. I don't think we're self-referential enough. So let's make a conscious effort to have, bits.
Yeah, sure.
Starting now.
I'll try to start remembering
I want
things.
more inside jokes.
That does require me to have memory.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to work on that. Just to touch on before we start our new segment, I want to say that we just got an email from Zachary confirming all of the shit I said about our second edition is trash compared to 5th edition.
I'm so excited.
And
For some reason, this is the first time I've gotten a notification on my phone when we get an email to that account. And I read it too, and I had just listened to it, and I was waiting for people, especially
hate
guys,
mail.
to be shitty about it. And I honestly felt really validated. So thank you, Zachary.
Thank you, Zachary. Also, thank you for more turtles. The turtle is absolutely welcome to play Changeling the Lost with us.
Yeah.
He sent the second
I agree.
email. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. All right, so that leads us into our new segment. What's it called again, Avalon?
It's called What Has Nerd Culture Done For You Lately? What has nerd culture done for you lately, Diana?
Okay.
I should be asking what you've done lately for nerd culture.
I mean, it's the same answer.
In this case, it works.
So I mentioned in our last podcast that I was gearing up for the first gaming convention that I've been a part of organizing, and not just being a GM for, and not just attending and visiting. And so there was a lot of nerves going into it. I felt really positive about it. This was the COGS Expo Mini Gaming Con.
What does COG stand
in
for?
New
'Cause I
Jersey.
like it, so I want you to say it.
What?
What does COG stand for? I like it. Say it.
COG stands for the Community Organized Gathering of Steampunks. Yeah, it's so good. So for this event, it was our first ever time, even including the old like parent event that died before us, never did anything like this, mini cons like throughout the year. So it was very new, uncharted territory for all of us involved, and there were a lot of nerves about whether or not anyone would fucking show up. We used a scheduling website called Warhorn that was super clunky and difficult to use and difficult to navigate, and so it was the only one we could find that allowed us to do something like that, and nobody signed up ahead of time, so we kind of walked into the store thinking, well, we've got 12 GMs ready to run games, and we, as far as we know, have 0 people coming to play them. So we had no idea what the turnout was going to be like, and it was a small space, it was a small con, but, you know, we wound up getting about like 50 weekend-long attendees in addition to our GMs.
Sweet.
And it was a packed house. Every game got played. So we had tables full. We had every game went off. I mean, we had so much laughter and fun. The store that hosted us, the only game in town in New Jersey, in Somerville, New Jersey, was amazing. They worked this out with us so seamlessly. They asked very little from us in return for hosting us. Also, they have a fluffy room that's filled wall to wall with Pokemon stuffed animals and like
I got freaked out.
And like stuffed animals from like Miyazaki films and like stuff. Just so much good stuff, and it's just wall to wall cuddly creatures. In addition to having
worried that it would be like a cuddling room.
No, nothing like that.
That would be a weird thing
And
for a store.
they had great terrain for wargaming that they let us use. They had
cool.
They had so much space. They had such a good board game collection. A whole wall of Bones miniatures, which are my favorite miniatures.
I don't know about that.
Oh god, Bones are great. They're really cheap and really good quality and really cool. They don't necessarily like fit any specific fandom, like they're not made for Warhammer or for D&D, but their miniatures fall into all of those categories.
That's cool. What kind of bases do they have? Or you just put them on whatever you want?
They come with their own bases, but they're standard. Okay. They're standard sizes for all those games, so they work for everything. And so the staff was super great, and they helped us out. Everything went wonderfully. My game of Honey Heist Saturday night landed super well, and it was really fun. But really, mostly, I'm just happy we had like such a great turnout, and now people are voting and they want to have another one. So I'm really excited about that. And then I would say the other thing that nerd culture has actually done for me lately is that Coheed and Cambria dropped their newest album, Vaxis, and it's so in our co-ed episode I had told you that they took a break on their last album from doing the storyline.
That's right.
So it was not in the canon, and it was a completely new sound. It had a little bit of a poppy sound instead of their like metal prog rock mishmash that their music really encompasses most of the time. This album, I feel nostalgic listening to it, even though it is brand new music, because it makes me feel reconnected to this story, and I cannot wait because now comics are gonna come. So I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't wait for any announcement from Claudio about anything. There's a narrative. This album is back in the Amory Wars world. Yeah. It's just at a different point in time with following a new character's story. Which character? So there are some a new totally one that we don't yet totally new. There are some side characters and things that are recurring. Some of like the cult characters that existed in the Amory Wars world are appearing as well, but the main characters are all new, and this seems like a love story epic, which the other one was not, and I am on board. So I'm really into it, and I'm very happy. So that's what nerd culture's done for me lately. Avalon, what has nerd culture done for you lately?
I don't think that's all nerd culture's done for you lately. What have you been playing?
Oh, you know what? I guess you're right. I started Horizon Zero Dawn finally, and I'm kind of shocked at how much I like it.
Cool.
Because I don't tend to like games that don't allow you to like play a customizable character. I tend to not care about that as much, and also it's not high fantasy, which is also what I'm drawn to the most video game wise, but it's beautiful, it's very engaging, it's very intriguing, and I'm a little emotional about the main character already. So yes, Horizon Zero Dawn, I'll be streaming it, so if you're following us on Twitch, or if you would want to see that
if that doesn't make you want to fucking drown yourself, then check it out.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Femsplained. I'll be
Twitch at the end of the episode, do
we? I've done it a couple of times. I always forget because it
use.
Yeah. So
well, sweet. I'm proud of you. You've been very engaged with nerd culture. I think more than I have.
Avalon, what has nerd culture done for you lately?
Well, nothing big, because I do have a lot going on with grad school. But my few tiny updates are that I finally beat that boss in 9 parchments.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me!
Now we only have one parchment left. It was hard. And I finally started acquiring the Labyrinth Coronation single issues like I wanted to.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But I got 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think there are going to be 12 total, but we're still on 7 or 8 right now, which I'm excited because I always mean to get the single issues when things are happening, when limited runs are happening, and then I never remember to. And then they're $1 million.
Yeah.
And then this is going to seem really trivial and stupid, but I'm really excited. I hit level 30 on Pokemon Go today. And I got a bunch of stuff trivial. From hitting level 30, and I thought that was awesome.
That's not trivial or stupid. And I'm still at level 26 or something.
143 of the original 150 in Pokemon Go. And I'm so excited.
That's awesome. And also, I want to now feel competitive, and I want to see how many I have.
Oh, man. Because there are 3 that I can't get, right? Because they're different country exclusive.
Ooh, is that true?
Yeah. Farfetch, Mr. Mime, Kangaskhan are exclusive to not North America.
Oh, you should friend Nathan on. But do you send each other gifts? Because you'll get eggs from him.
I have eggs, but I don't know if I have any. I don't know. Anyway, judgment. But I am really excited because I feel like I will fucking catch them all. Genuinely.
You will.
I think I actually will catch them all.
You will.
But every time I see a gym with a Kangaskhan from some exchange student, I get really jealous and mad. But yeah.
We gotta travel. I guess. So yeah, actually, I think those things are very cool.
Those things are not
so
cool.
I think that they're very cool.
And then the burlesque show is just like, whatever. I need to work on it this weekend. I need to work on promotional materials this weekend. But there's nothing really nerdy that has to do with that. Although, this weekend, I'm going to start costuming because I have so much to costume for with that show and Halloween coming up.
Weird. Hey, if we could get a man in here real quick, I feel like we have an epiphany coming on.
A real man alert.
We got a real man alert. Francis, help us small women introduce our podcast topic.
In a mansplained minute, everything's explained. In a mansplained minute. Tell the ladies what to say in a mansplained minute. Putting 1 minute on the man watch and go. Costuming. Y'all, I'm going to break character this week and speak to you not as Francis the Mansplainer, but as Francis the Man. Or at least, what is left of Francis the Man. I have been broken, you see, as it relates to costumes. Halloween used to be a joyous time. I'd pick a superhero that I kind of liked, I'd buy some base costume parts from Party City or Amazon, and who knows, if I was feeling particularly creative, I'd head out to Goodwill and buy a couple of accessories or some other various items with Francis flair and make the costume my own. And that was it. Then I married a costumer. Now, Halloween involves spending $300 on various fabrics from Joann's, thousands of trips to Goodwill and St. Vinny's, watching as the house dissolves into chaos and stress leading right up to the very day of Halloween. And that's just at Halloween. The rest of the year, it's trying to figure out how we're going to fit these boxes of costumes into our tiny-ass 2-bedroom, converting the guest room into a costuming room, and then the basement into a costume storage center. The madness does not end. So if there is still time for you, if you have not formed a lifelong union with a costumer, run. Run and hide somewhere where they will never find you, such as Party City. And that's your mansplain minute and a half.
Okay, so our topic, as Francis has so explained.
There we go.
Yeah, is costuming, and I'm really excited about that.
Are you?
I am. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
It's a mutual gasm of an episode that we're gonna femsplain to each other and at you.
All right. So here's the first thing I'm gonna say. Which term do you prefer and why? Costuming, cosplaying.
I think they're two different things.
Why?
Well, cosplay, in my limited opinion, is that it's when you're specifically dressing up as a character, and costuming is when you're, dressing in maybe just an aesthetic. So, I mean, for the first few years that I was into costuming at all, I never did any specific characters, or even if I did something inspired by maybe a character, I really kind of did my own thing and was mostly going for fitting some sort of aesthetic, usually the steampunk aesthetic, or like some kind of anachronism, or a high fantasy aesthetic. So when I started doing like specific characters, I started to feel like there was a little bit of a difference between costuming in general and cosplay. Okay. Why, you disagree?
I absolutely accept that definition. I just wanted to establish it. I have universally referred to any silly outfit as costuming, specifically because I think I felt the need to differentiate from cosplayers based on my own personal decision that there was a little bit of not coolness happening there.
Being a cosplayer?
A little bit, yeah. And it's not like, I don't think I would never be like, oh, I'm not fucking cosplaying, I'm costuming and it's different. I think I just chose for my vernacular to just be like, cool, I like costuming, cool, I'm working on some costuming things, blah, blah, blah. Just because cosplay sounded sexual to me and like weird.
Well, it's because, I'm sorry, Kinksters, but how dare you commandeer the word play?
I know!
The word play has really taken a dark turn.
I know.
And I also associate the word play with
kink.
Like, I wanted to text somebody the other day to ask them to play video games. And I almost was like, you want to play with me? And then I was like, I can't say this sentence.
No, you can't.
Because if I say that sentence,
that's just like a straight up sex thing.
They're gonna, yeah, no. So the word play has been canceled.
Yeah, and that includes cosplay. And cosplay less so now. I think it's just so mainstream. Totally fine. But I do feel like 8 years ago, cosplay was like a little bit like, people might look at you like, might make some assumptions about your level of social skills based on saying that cosplaying was one of your hobbies. Whereas if I say like, I craft and sew costumes, like that just it didn't feel as like weird.
Yes, the connotation, the receptiveness of people to it.
I used that term regardless of whether it was a canon character or just sort of an aesthetic. But I like what you're saying.
Yeah, that's how I differentiate it for myself, just because I always wanted to do cosplay, but I was never confident enough in my like skills as a like I'm not crafty really. I don't sew. I don't know how to, build armor. I can't do that.
I bet you
but
could.
It's possible that I can. I mean, I can. All right, I can sew a little bit, but I can't make my own.
Like specifically, I mean, anybody can sew. It's not hard. But I specifically mean the armor thing.
All right, I hate you for saying that, because it took me like a full 8-hour day to sew leaves onto an existing piece of clothing to make my Peter Pan outfit.
Do it more efficiently. It's not that you're bad at it or whatever. It's just that like when would you learn that skill? But I feel specifically like with armor and all the stuff that people do with like foam board and heat gun, I equate that a lot more with wargaming types of craftiness, which you have. I really think it's that kind of.
I think also there's equipment and space and stuff that I don't have as well for that kind of crafting. Just like because I sometimes watch people like do it on in YouTube or whatever. But when I was first doing costuming in general, I always wanted to do specific characters. I had that idea in my head, but I was never confident in how accurately I'd be able to pull it off and whether or not it would be worth it for me to try. So I just went and did my own like aesthetics, and in my head sometimes I was like I was a character.
Yeah.
like my first Steampunk World's Fair costume, in my head I was the airship captain from Mad Max, like the Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Oh God, but the one with the fucking crazy pilot.
Yeah, I know the character you're talking about.
Yeah. I didn't look anything like him. Yeah. I had no articles of clothing that suggested that I was him, but in my head, that's who I was. Yeah. I had a hat that was very like airship captain-y.
I know that outfit because I made our steampunk Valentine's card out of a picture of you with that outfit.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time looking at it as I like photoshopped out your background.
It gave me that year gave me like really, really like bizarre expectations for Steampunk World's Fair, because that year I did that shitty costume that was just like one trip to a thrift store, the end, like, and just me putting on some clothing, and like some fucking professional videographers like came and filmed me in that outfit, and then like made it into a video, like a compilation among like the best cosplayers of Steampunk World's Fair.
Oh my god!
So I was just like, I still like go back and watch it sometimes, where I'm just like, this is the worst costume I've ever worn, and it is the best documented.
I'm really excited for you to share that video.
I will. I wish I had more confidence in how I like posed or like moved for it, but it was very awesome. So I just always had characters in mind or an aesthetic in mind, and then in the last few years I've finally like been like, no, fuck it, I actually want to be these characters. I'm gonna put in the work and the time and do those costumes.
I think characters are more fun for me than aesthetic.
Is it? Because so I was gonna ask you, because I know that a lot of your like con costumes or like were very aesthetic costumes, but I'm thinking your character costumes are more like in your burlesque, would you say?
I mean, I really enjoy both. I think I have more opportunity to do aesthetic than character, but I have more fun with character because it's probably because it's easier for me to bring details to life than it is to come up with details. So I feel like my aesthetic costumes are a little bit flatter. Whereas if I'm being a character and they've got like a little bit of like embellishment on a sleeve that I think is really cool to try to really capture, or, you know, that kind of thing is more fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I wouldn't necessarily think of that if I was just like coming up with a mermaid. I would just, you know, I would get to a certain point and then I would feel like the costume is done. Whereas with cosplay, it's like there's so much potential to keep going back and layering detail into it. And I like that.
Yeah. What I really appreciate, though, with aesthetic costuming is that you can create your own character, kind of. If you feel confident enough
I do not.
in it. And you know, honing on one detail, like you said, like if the character in a movie or in a video game or whatever has this little trait that you hone in on, you make the costume, you know, come to life with just that.
Yeah.
Whereas like if like some of the best like costumers I know, like who create their own characters in an aesthetic, kind of do that where they like make their own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have a hard time doing that. Coming up with a trait like that.
Like I think that I don't think I'm like an expert costumer because I don't do it that much. But like I think I'm strong at it when
you absolutely are.
But I will say that when it comes to pirate camping, where it's a character that I've totally made up and literally everything is a blank slate, I got nothing. Like I have a really hard time not just being super basic or super literal with what a pirate would look like. I don't know why. It's just really challenging for me. And part of it is that maybe that aesthetic isn't like the fucking coolest to me. Like, it's fun, but it's not, like, one of my things. But when I was watching that live Critical Role, when they all dressed like pirates, I was like, holy shit. Like, all of these different hat styles, all of these different color palettes that aren't like, super literal and immediately obvious. Like, I would not have
Liam
gone there.
O'Brien.
Yeah.
Liam fucking O'Brien did nothing stereotypical, but he was still clearly a pirate.
Yeah, and I think that maybe there's a level of creativity there that I don't quite have, where I was seriously looking at them and making mental notes for how to, but that's just me sort of replicating. Like,
okay, so here's the thing. Here's my suggestion for that, especially with pirate camping where you have a character that you've created. I think we need to take that character and we need to run her through the D&D character creation and make her on paper real. And I think the part that's going to be the most interesting is to give her flaws and personality traits and things like that. And I feel like in that process, we'll come up with some sort of flavor that will give you costuming ideas.
I mean, I feel like I have flaws in mind for the character. I just don't know how to make a hat that isn't like literally what a Google search result of a pirate hat is.
Yeah, we gotta talk it out. I feel
like the feathering situation is totally unique.
Yeah,
but I don't know. So anyway, so for that reason, I think that I get a little bit more enjoyment and fulfillment out of an established character costume.
I get more enjoyment and fulfillment out of an established character because I think I would love to do pirate camping where everyone was being a original character.
Yeah. Well,
or like
that's what
or like
it is,
LARP.
but people aren't actually in character. But in theory, they're supposed to be. But like, you
Right.
don't use your real name; you use your character name.
Right. I think I would like costuming in that kind of environment, like non-canon character costuming in that kind of a environment. But I tend to go to events where most people are a mix. Like there's probably a 50-50 split of people doing cosplay and people doing just an aesthetic. And the people doing the aesthetic are usually not doing any sort of like original character. They're just, themselves in this aesthetic. They're dandies or they're, anachronists, which is great. For me, I care about it more if it's some sort of character. So if I were in a group of people where everybody was doing an original character, like I've done some LARPing, and I think that that's a really fun time to dress up as an original character because everybody else is. So you're not comparing yourself to the person who literally is Link, and is like phenomenal and blowing your mind. But in those mixed company groups, I prefer to do a cosplay now that I've actually done that. Now that I've actually stretched into that realm. So I want to know your I want to know your favorite non-canon character costume and your favorite in-character canon costume that you've done.
So my favorite non-canon character costume is probably the only costume that I feel like I finished in time for the event. Which I don't know about you, but like that never happens. Like that it is completed as how I sketched it when the event comes up.
That's amazing.
And it was like autumn. Let's call it an autumn fae because I don't know. It didn't have like a name.
Yes.
But it was like
yes.
Yeah, and I felt really good in it. And I got a really good reception, and I got a lot of really good pictures, and I really liked it.
Is this one I know? This is the
it's the first time I went to Salem.
It
was like an orange, not like a muscle skirt, but it was like an antique skirt and a corset, and I made a capelet.
And you had
out
like
of leaves.
sticks.
Yeah, and I had sticks, like dead sticks and stuff that I had attached to the front of the corset. So it was a strapless corset, and it was like coming up the sides of the corset and sort of like wrapping around my chest a little bit. And I feel like there was another detail that I was happy with, but I was happy with it. I was happy with my makeup. It wasn't extreme,
I was just going to bring up your makeup
like,
in that.
It was like a little bit paler than I am, and it was like I had dark veins very subtly on my neck coming up a little bit on my face.
Yes.
But otherwise it was like quote unquote pretty. And I liked how my hair turned out too. It was kind of like a curly updo. I just felt like I was going to like a fae court. Like I felt like a totally acceptable...
Yeah, you were going to the fae ball.
Yeah. Oh, and I had a mask. That's what it was. I had a really creepy like Raven Queen mask on a stick. And it had like moss on it.
Oh, I forgot about that part of it.
I forgot about it too because it's not in most of the pictures. Yeah. And I really liked it. I was super proud of that skirt. It was like a sort of iridescent orange silk. I liked that skirt a lot, and I'm glad that it's no longer, or I'm sad that it's no longer with us.
Ugh, good God.
I know.
Ugh.
But,
murder train.
And you know what's weird is I did that costume again, and I liked it less the second time. And I feel like that's not the way, like you're supposed to improve upon it. But I changed the corset, and I wore a wig instead that was like sort of gray, and I made the makeup scarier, and I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't remember that incarnation of it.
I went to Wicked Fair with it.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that. I just remember the original, and that was like so
I was really proud of it. And it was the first event costume I think I had done. I had done a lot of costuming, but it was only just for like house parties or my own weird wanting it.
Yeah,
it was, like, the first time I really took a costume out in public outside of a party.
Oh, and what a debut, like fucking Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween.
And it was really well received. It was actually so well received that I kind of had a bad time. Like I didn't
because
enjoy
you
myself
get stopped.
because it was just fucking like it was like one of the first times that I had a lot of crowd anxiety. And, like,
in
social
Salem,
anxiety.
Massachusetts on Halloween, if you want to have a good time,
Yeah.
wear a gimmicky, silly, shitty costume. It's awesome. If you love being the center of attention, it's great. Wear the best costume you can pull out because it's full of tourists. They will stop you every 30 seconds. They will take your picture. It's amazing. It's kind of a cool experience. But
It's like being a Disney character at Disney World.
Yes,
But you're
it's
not
like
getting
having
paid,
a job.
and you have to pee.
Yeah. And like you want to get to that fucking hot dog stand
I know.
so bad. Like you want to see It's a crazy experience. So all right, so now favorite in character costume that you've done.
So as per what I was saying with completion, I don't think I've had an in character costume that I truly was happy with it being done. But I will say that basically any recognizable character that I've done a burlesque act for, I've really just been happy about.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different kind of costuming, right? Because it's costuming for stuff you have to be able to strip out of, which is very different. Yeah, so you need to be recognizable, and you need to be able to get out of it, and you need to be able to get out of it in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And so it's a really different kind of costuming. And also for me, you know, like, burlesque doesn't really make you very much money. So it's not, when you're going to a con, it makes sense to spend hundreds of dollars sometimes on something that you're going to reuse and it's awesome. But like with burlesque, it's almost like a personal challenge to spend as little as possible.
Right, because you're trying to break even on those events.
So it becomes less about like, are other nerds going to respect this? And it becomes more about, is this going to be recognizable enough that the second I go out on stage, people are going to be happy? And it's like a design on a dime, like Project Runway challenge.
Yeah.
You know, and can I do it with Dollar Tree and Goodwill stuff? And can I get it off?
Yeah.
So
seems,
it's just a different, it's just a totally different thing, but it's really fun, I think. And so I will say, you know, straight up cosplay as you've defined it, my favorites would be burlesque numbers. And then I'm going to say probably, honestly, when I did like, I said this in the burlesque episode, but I did like that classic vaudeville act where half of your body's a man and half is a woman, and I did like half was Chic and half was Princess Zelda, and I think I'm proudest of that. There are aspects or like details to other characters that I really like, but I think overall that was my favorite because I had like a different pasty for each, and I'd like half the crown going into the sort of like turban thing, and what's funny is I had a thrown together Chic costume that was okay previously. So I already had it, so like I literally had it to cut in half, and then I built half of a Zelda costume onto it, and it was just, I just thought it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was pretty
That's so
cheap,
great.
and I liked it a lot. I was not happy with the wig, because that is something that I'm always weak on, but whatever, it exists.
Because they're very hard. They are.
And I like, that can be an investment, and I never want to spend money on it. So usually they're like really shitty, and then that kind of like sometimes that can be pretty obvious.
Yeah. So. Well, wigs is a thing I also have mixed feelings about as well. I like to have them, but I don't spend money on them. I buy shitty wigs, and I think that's okay, but I also tend to wait to the last minute, and then the shitty wigs I have to choose from are like even shittier. Yeah. So, yeah. But I know that if you buy two of the same like $12 wig and you wear them like both, like one on top of the other, you can't tell, and it makes it look more like you have a fuller head of hair. It looks better. That's my tip to you. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah. So that works out. I'm not good at styling wigs though. I have the heads that you're supposed to like pin it to, so it's easier to style it, but the head is like half a pound because it's made of styrofoam, and so like when you try to braid it, like the whole head is coming up. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's better. You're already like 3 steps ahead of me. Mine are in a pile in this closet somewhere. I need to fix mine. They're pretty rad. They're probably dreaded right now. Yeah, I got a lot of that. Yeah. But that Wish site
if you're willing to wait an indeterminate amount of time, does have a lot of really cool cheap wigs.
Oh yeah, my coin belt that I had for not the brave actually showed up today.
Yeah, I got a bunch of
everything else showed up like amazingly on time.
Some of it has to go through customs, but it doesn't really tell you very clearly. I guess another nerd burlesque costume I was really excited about is I did a Tomb Raider number, and I made a cardboard pentagon like bra, like pointy bra. So like I came out on stage like raiding a tomb like sneaky style with my back to the audience, and then when I turn to the audience I have like the really stupid like cube boobs, which I really had fun with.
That's funny. I like that a lot.
But yeah, costuming wise, just straight up costuming, I have not really gotten to do very much because I don't go to any cons out here, and also burlesque just like kind of takes up my costuming energy. But because it's sort of like a throwaway number once a month, I never get to really make something that I feel very like proud of. And I do kind of miss that.
I get that. Yeah. That makes sense.
In theory, that I would be doing that with Pirate, but I'm just really not inspired with my Pirate character.
Okay, we're going to work on that. Do you want to work on that right now? Do you want to work on that on Femsplained right now?
I mean, we can, yeah. So my Pirate character is very tomboyish.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't feel like that pirate camp feels like a safe place for me to feel feminine. You don't want to be
vulnerable. In a corset in that place.
No,
yeah.
I like feeling like I have masculine energy there.
Good.
And that's it. So like if I see something at Goodwill that feels piratey, I just buy it, and then like the day of I try to put it sort of together.
Okay.
And, yeah.
All right. Start. Just fucking wind. All right. Great. So she's a tomboy. Great. So am I. So are lots of people. So what?
Rude.
What are other things about her? So tell me other stuff about her.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So the backstory that I had in mind loosely, because I made it in an earlier time, is that she was perhaps a first mate, and this ship might have been a pirate ship or might have just been sort of a merchant ship. Merchant ship feels more appropriate. And then something stowaways that involved Frances and Chris Idell's characters either lost her job or sunk her ship or something similar. So there's this kind of like she's landed and she's had a fall from status in terms of just maybe like the honor of the position that she was in, even if it wasn't like a super like lucrative or titled character or anything like that. And there's some amount of like working on basic ships with the intention maybe of getting back to that place. Not with her specific old ship or crew, but just late in life working back up to something.
Okay. So two ideas from that are that, and I think you have the seamstress skills that I wouldn't have in this scenario. But I would suggest taking like your piratey garb somewhere on it to stitch in like a patch that doesn't match the rest of what you're wearing. That would be like the colors from your old ship, because you are a character who hasn't let go of that. So like something from either your old flag or from your old ship's colors or whatever, to have that patchwork, maybe even just like a square into your clothes somewhere randomly, like as like a
that makes sense.
A piece that doesn't fit. And then I think like maybe like having an accessory like parchments or something like that that might be interpreted as like someone who still like keeps things from their past maybe, or like from their...
What do you mean by parchments?
Like rolled up scrolls.
Okay.
In
like a bag or something? Like sticking out?
Yeah, something like that, like kind of sticking out of of a pouch somewhere on your person. Something little like that could then be a jumping off point to inspire more, but like just from what you're telling me, that...
I think you're right. And I think part of the problem too is I haven't sewn anything. I've only thrifted. And that might be part of why I'm not feeling very connected to the items.
Ah.
Because normally I sew. Normally
put
I don't.
some love into it. Yeah, put some elbow grease into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you, I know it's kind of towards the end of the episode that I'm asking this, but I meant to ask you what got you started, or what was your gateway costuming?
You're gonna fucking laugh at me, but my fucking grandfather. So I know you can always laugh.
Not.
So yeah, I know it's dumb, but like
it's
his
not dumb.
favorite. It's dumb,
Okay.
but like his favorite holiday was Halloween, and so our family, just in general, when we were young, put a lot of effort into Halloween, into costuming, into haunted houses, into like turning our home into an experience. Like Halloween was sort of the gateway to general costuming, I guess.
I think that's probably normal.
Yeah, but like it was always encouraged to not just buy like the store-bought costumes, but to do something creative, something more. This is also the same grandpa who like got me into theater and stuff, so his approach to life was always to be fucking extra as hell. And then there were a lot of years where I took a complete turnaround break from anything creative, anything like that, and I kind of shut it down. And then I got back in to it because honestly, it's weird to say, but the Steampunk World's Fair, the community, obviously not the fucking shitstorm of a person who created it, but the community who enjoyed it and like made it feel so accepting, like to show up in whatever costume you fucking wanted. I mean, people showed up. It's a steampunk and like anachronistic event where people, would show up in fucking goth gear and everyone would applaud them. Like you don't care if you actually even fit the aesthetic. Nobody's judging you. Everybody's happy that you just showed up and flew your flag. And that was the part where I felt like, oh my god, I can fuck up. I can do whatever costume I want in a shitty way and like try and flex this muscle and be bad at it, and I'll and no one's gonna tell me to go fuck off.
I'm glad you felt that way. I did not feel that way there, but I like what you're saying.
I think the time that I truly felt it was when I did, like, because the first couple of years I went, even though I wanted to do a character, I didn't. I did the aesthetic thing, and I had a lot of support and everything, and there was good reception, but I wasn't as happy. A couple of years ago, I did a Dragon Age character, which in no way fit the aesthetic.
Right.
It did not fit the aesthetic at all. It was high fantasy, solely high fantasy.
And you didn't do like a steampunk version of that character. You just
No, I did not. I did not do that at all. I just did straight up that character, and the reception and the love and everything was brilliant, and like it was just like there was no problem, and then I felt very empowered to just do what I wanted within that community. Yeah. Those people are gonna fucking survive forever because they're awesome. Yeah.
I love that. I like that you have the acceptance to be who you want to be in that space. But my last inquiry reminded me that I do really like X versions of Y. I love X versions of Y.
I love that too, and that was something that I wanted to do, but I think I'm still figuring out how to have the skill set to do. Like I wanted to do my second Steampunk World's Fair. I wanted to do a steampunk Ayala the Huntress from Skyrim. I really just wound up doing the aesthetic thing anyway, and like it maybe had little bits of flavor, but like I wasn't confident enough to do face paint, so that there was not like, it's still stretching like flexing a muscle. It's still like trying to like be confident in doing something. I I do like that too, though.
I
There's
really
somebody who
do.
did like a really great steampunk Tinkerbell that I fucking like am in love with.
Can you be a steampunk Tinkerbell too, or is it like taken?
I'm fucking Peter Pan.
Oh,
I
I'm
would
an
I
idiot.
would
I'm an
never
idiot.
ever in my
Sorry.
life would I ever fucking dress up as Tinkerbell. I am fucking
I
Peter
don't know
Pan.
what's wrong with me. I really don't. What does steampunk Peter Pan look like?
So my Peter Pan costume that I did for Halloween last year, which
Oh, that's
first
right.
of all, I won first place in the costume contest at the gay bar as Link.
Right.
I was Peter Pan.
It's not like a crazy stretch.
No, I mean,
But
I was
I can
covered
still
in
see how it'd
leaves
be
though.
frustrating.
But like,
Yeah.
I had a thimble around my neck. Like, I mean,
Aw.
But I get it. It's green,
It's
and
green,
you
and
know,
it's like
I was
androgynous
yeah.
boy. sort of.
Androgynous green dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. I'm not faulting anyone. So I did that costume. So a steampunk Peter Pan, like steampunk Tinkerbell. Her wings were like what she made into like the steampunk aesthetic.
Yeah.
For Peter Pan, I don't fucking know. I mean, it would be like just like staple some gears to him. I don't know. Like he's
Well, not that. Give me some accessories that make Peter Peter.
Peter's I guess. No, he doesn't. His accessories are like the thimble.
Okay.
The acorns are like an iconic thing on him. His knife, slingshot. That could be a cool thing to steam power a slingshot.
You know what? You know why he can't be steampunked? Is because he is literally the antithesis of Victorian society.
Yeah,
And so you can't
He's literally the rebel of Victorian society.
He was written as the antithesis of
Fuck
Victorian
you,
society.
Victorian society. I would rather run
Interesting.
away and be dead
You do
and in
literally
limbo
anything
forever.
rather than have that aesthetic. That sort of
Yeah.
like structured, mechanical,
No, he's barefoot and he's fucking covered in dirt and
Fascinating.
mud. That's it.
That's
yeah.
a real
Peter.
puzzle.
Whereas Tinkerbell totally
Totally makes
can
sense.
because while she operates outside of the like Victorian London aesthetic, she only abandons it because she's a fucking bitch who falls in love with this asshole.
Baby. So I guess what you could have. So I'm trying to think like Dark Peter, and I'm trying to think in terms of like the Lost Boys and all that stuff. Like that. There's something about that.
Well, I did a dark Peter Pan based on Brahms' The Child Thief.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, a great book that everyone should read.
I read
It's
it.
I don't like calling it a dark version of Peter Pan because fucking Peter Pan is really dark
Yeah.
as it is. This is just a more obviously dark version of Peter Pan where they don't sugarcoat it.
I think the reason why that
sound
book is so good is because it's a great fae book.
Yes.
More
They
so
really
to
don't-
me than it to me it's more of a fae court book than it is a Peter Pan book because of like all the stuff that happens in like the second half.
Yes. So this book is more obviously painting Peter Pan as what he is in J.M. Barrie's
Which
book.
is a child thief.
Yes. But some of the artwork that's scattered within it is really beautiful because it really accentuates Peter as being like a fae, pointed ears, angled features, this kind of like thin and gangly thing. And I did for like my third Salem or whatever, I did a child thief cosplay that I was very unhappy with, but I liked doing it anyway.
I feel like you could make Peter look steampunked by giving him some of Hook's stuff, like as if he's defeated Hook and it's like a trophy.
Yeah. Well,
Because Hook stuff
I
would
would
be steampunk.
Hook the movie is super fucking like amenable to steampunk. Like that movie is totally in line
It's
with it.
true. The Lost Boys. It's very like MacGyver. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty house.
I just can't. I know I've even talked about it on this podcast before, but Dustin Hoffman's face. I just want to talk about it all day long. When his ship full of adult pirates armed with guns and cannons are being defeated by kids with mirrors and chickens.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and he does that head tilt. It's just such a beautiful.
That's one of like 5
beautiful
movies
moment
that
to me.
I can watch like an infinite number of times, and that's fine. And for me, super rare.
That's
not
a
like
lot for
rewatching
Avalon.
things. Hook, I can watch any day, and I can come in at any point. And I'm not like, oh, I missed the good part.
No, because every part's the good part. Yeah.
Even though I always come in at the same time, which is when they're on the airplane. Always.
That's so weird. That's so relatable.
I feel like I've only seen what's prior to that, like maybe once or twice.
It's just the play.
Yeah, but I forget that.
But the play it's weirdly important.
I know.
Because
but I never see it.
But that's so weird because I've always come in on the plane part too.
Yeah.
When it's on TV.
What's up with that?
I don't know. We need to like write TBS
and
ask
listen,
them.
I don't want to say like my strengths are in sewing. I own a sewing machine and I'm capable of using it. How about that? My grandmother taught me to sew when I was little, and I sewed all the time with my grandmother, which was how I got into costuming. And so I need you to learn how to make like foam props and armor.
I want to.
Then we can,
really want to.
We can live in a barter system.
Yeah, we can do those things for each other. All right, fuck it. It's time.
Oh, I really just watch a couple of YouTube videos. It looks easy as shit. You just need.
It does not. Don't say that.
Does.
I hate that.
It's just foam.
Because then when I'm bad at it, and it's not
just
easy.
Cardboard and foam and a hot gun.
You can't say that it looks easy because I'll be
easy.
mad. Fuck off.
Whatever. You need to pull your weight.
I do.
Big fat weight.
I do. I need to pull it.
You're 5 feet of weight. What else?
Wink.
Costuming. Anything else? We're wrapping it up.
What's
important? You don't have to spend a lot of money.
No,
but
you really
also
don't.
Can.
You also can't. My Not the Brave costume cost less than any costume I've ever put together.
Sweatshop. Garbage clothes.
It was like a weird mix of shit. I've never used Wish before, so I don't fucking know.
I think it's perfect though for that kind of thing.
But it was a weird mix of like stuff that was very good quality and stuff that like is already broken.
Yeah. I recommend Wish and for anchor pieces for your costume, but also give yourself 2 months because who knows when it's going to be shipped.
There's no telling. There's no telling.
$6.
There's a tracker, but it still says that my mask is on the way here right now. I just checked, and it's been here.
It's not real, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Wish in general, but still
for costuming stuff, I think it's great. They've got some fucking serious burlesque stuff.
Oh, I believe it.
I got ISIS wings for like $10 from them.
That's awesome. Have they gotten there?
Yeah, I haven't used them.
I need to see. All right, so stuff we need to see. We need to see Avalon's Autumn Fae costume. Yeah, bitch. You need to see it.
I don't have a solo.
Oh God, we'll just
crop ourselves together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just crop my face onto his head.
Well, it's a jack-o'-lantern, so I'll have to make it really big. Is what I'm saying. For it to cover the pocket.
That's fine. And what else do we need to see? The video of my steam. Yeah.
A steampunk.
Yeah.
And we need to see photos of maybe costumes that listeners are proud of.
Oh my God, I would love that. Yeah. Yes, please. If you've made a costume,
if they're, like, not perfect, because.
Oh my God, yes. And tell us, cosplayers, costumers, when you send us those pictures, which I insist that you do. Tell us if you feel comfortable with us putting them on the Instagram story, because I would love to share costumers and boost you and tag you in them so that people, can see the awesome work you've done. But if you also just want it to be just us, I will totally respect that, and they will not be shared. So let us know.
Nice.
In that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot.
Well, I'm actually going to have a costuming weekend this weekend because I have so many
What?
costumes to make. I have like 6 costumes to make by the end of the
All
month.
for burlesque?
It's a combination of burlesque and Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the Halloween one?
You'll see.
Oh my god. Say that creepier.
You'll see.
Perfect.
It just felt so.
Yeah, it was a really good
Yeah.
cackle you got
Thanks.
there.
All right. I gotta go make a little bit of dinner for myself. I
Good.
can keep hanging out though, but the listeners can't come.
Oh, they can't come. Oh, the laugh is back. Oh, shit.
I've never done it before, so I'm really excited.
I'm really excited too. Avalon is the color of black cherries right now. So
I think that I have a food sensitivity to beer.
this podcast.
No, to beer sometimes. This happens
Oh.
with IPAs to me. I get like a
Maybe
little
you have a
too,
hops allergy.
a little too red, and like it's like it doesn't feel good. It feels bad and hot.
It's not just your face too; it's your chest.
Well, that's
You have
that's
it,
the podcast anxiety blotches that I get. That I always
All
get.
right. We're gonna WebMD Avalon's symptoms after
Listeners,
this, but
we'd love it if you
so-
could send us an email where you diagnose Avalon.
listeners,
Got a red and blotchy face.
I want you guys to engage with us more. So please, things that you can do, hit us up on Instagram at Femsplained Podcast, Twitter at Femsplained Cast. You can watch us on YouTube at Femsplained Podcast. You can follow and watch me play Horizon Zero
That's probably
Dawn
honestly,
on
that's the
twitch.tv
best way.
/Femsplained. You can email us at femsplainedpodcast@gmail.com and on Facebook at Femsplained Podcast, probably, or whatever. So please do those things. We love it when people engage. Zachary, you're the MVP. Thank you so much for continuing on with the turtles and also for validating my thoughts about D&D.
I read the email for the first time today in a while, and I noticed that somebody explained the football camera to us. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I had brought it up in the
Really?
episode.
I
Yeah,
fucking was not listening.
Thank you, Avalon. Yeah, no, I had brought it up, and that it didn't the lines on the football field didn't originate with football. They originated with hockey,
Fascinating.
but it failed. And so that's how we got those fucking magic lines.
Does that mean
the magic lines?
it's Canadian technology?
I assume so. What good comes out of America? It's gotta be Canadian technology.
Yeah, now I'm sad.
All right, so Avalon,
Yes.
please enjoy your meal.
Okay.
Okay. Listeners, please enjoy this podcast.
And then go listen to the last one because it's or not. I
Oh,
don't know. I
and
just didn't like it.
please hit us up, email
You
us,
already said that.
text us.
I don't wanna be
fucking
texted.
anything. I don't give a shit. If you are a woman
Oh.
or you are a queer,
Yes.
you hit us up if you want to be in a game run by me for Changeling
Yes,
Lost.
please.
You hit us up immediately.
Please.
I want to run this game.
Yeah.
It's being written. It's being planned. I have the bones. There's bones.
Oh my gosh. I got actual goosebumps.
All right, babies. Avalon, go eat.
I will.
And the rest of you,
Go sleep.
I'll see you in
I don't care
hell.
if you're driving a car right now. Just go sleep.
Go sleep. Go sleep.
Good night.
Okay. Bye.